Place their hand over their heart. Repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land acknowledgement, Mr. Alvarez.
We acknowledge that our district is on the ancestral land of the Cahuilla people, with whom we have a long-standing partnership. We are grateful for the opportunity to prepare future generations, teaching them to respect and contribute to their community and to continue the stewardship exemplified by the Cahuilla people.
Thank you. Roll call will reflect that all board members as well as cabinet and superintendent are present. Approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 2025?
So moved forward.
Is there a second?
Second, Pierce.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Board meeting addenda, Dr. May-Volmar.
There are none this evening.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting of June 10th, 2025?
So moved, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Pierce.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Community staff and student recognition, Dr. May-Volmar.
All right. We're going to turn it over to our public information officer for this section of the agenda.
Thank you so much. Good evening, members of the school board, cabinet colleagues, and our many honored guests tonight. I'm thrilled to introduce our honorees, but before we get started, just a quick reminder, after receiving your award, please take your seat and stay for the board's remarks on your recognition. And once that's wrapped up, we'll invite you to the lobby for a quick photo opportunity. And if you need to leave early, please do so quietly and keep the focus on those presenting and receiving their awards. Now let's get started. First, I'd like to welcome Dr. Dan Borgen, Director of Personnel and Leadership and Development, to present our Management Employee of the Month.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. May-Volmar, cabinet. Again, I'm certainly honored to recognize an Employee of the Month for the month of June. We only have one this month, but I think you'll agree with me that the one we have is something extra special. So being named as our Management Employee of the Month for the month of June, Derek Lawson, principal of Indio High School. That's good to hear, Mr. Lawson. You weren't here for that. It's always my goal to surprise you. So here's a summary of Mr. Lawson and his time in Desert Sands. With a career spanning 38 years dedicated to Desert Sands Unified School District, Mr. Derek Lawson exemplifies what it means to be a transformative educational leader. From his early days in the classroom at Jackson, Roosevelt, and Monroe Elementary Schools to his current role as the distinguished principal of Indio High School, Derek has devoted his professional life to empowering students and building strong school communities. After 6 impactful years as an elementary teacher and 1 year serving as a project teacher in state and federal programs, Derek stepped into the principalship, a role he has held for an extraordinary 31 years. His leadership journey includes 5 years at Kennedy, opening Johnson Elementary in 1999 and leading it for 7 years, launching Page Middle School and guiding it for a decade, and for the past 9 years, proudly leading the Rajas at Indio High. Derek's legacy is marked by far more than just longevity. He is a pillar of excellence in education. Though the list is too long to capture in a single write-up, Derek has earned numerous awards at the local, county, and state levels, each one a testament to his commitment, heart, and vision. Whether opening new schools or closing achievement gaps, Derek leads with purpose and unwavering integrity. As he approaches retirement, we honor Derek not only as Employee of the Month, but as a lifelong educator whose impact will be felt for generations to come. Congratulations, Mr. Lawson, and thank you for showing us all what it means to serve with heart and a camera. Congratulations, Derek.
Thank you so much, Dr. Borgen. And one more round of applause for Principal Derek Lawson. Congratulations. And next, it's my pleasure to introduce Manuel Gatan. He is the District Manager of Riverside County's Citrus Pest Control District. He's joining us now to present the Agra Art Award winners on behalf of Growing Coachella Valley.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Gaitan, as she shared. I am with the Riverside County Citrus Pest Control District, also representing Growing Coachella Valley. For those who are not familiar with the association, it is a nonprofit association dedicated to sustainable farming and bringing together professionals and farmers alike to promote agriculture within the Coachella Valley. It is an honor to present today our Agra Art Contest winners. This is a contest that we do throughout Desert Sands, and what we do is we ask the kids, both elementary, middle school, and high school, to draw or create a kind of a picture of what is Coachella Valley and what does it mean to grow sustainable crops in the Coachella Valley. So with that, all the applicants, all the kids that do submit them, all the association, we come together and we select those kids that represented truly the heart of agriculture within the Coachella Valley. So at this moment, we are going to be honoring the elementary students first. And at first, we're going to ask, as an honorable mention, Matthew Bradford, 4th grade from Carrillo Ranch. Up next in 3rd place, Chloe Choi. In 2nd place, Alexa Pan. And our 1st place winner for elementary, Antonio Galoma, the 2nd. All right, and now going into the middle and high school students. Now, part of the contest, what I didn't mention was we then have an additional contest, and out of the top presenters, top winners, we then select one to represent the Coachella Valley billboard that we'll put up for the whole year, and it'll be put up in the next couple of months on Highway 86 heading southbound, so you guys will be able to see that. So I'll be mentioning that as well. So in honorable mention for middle and high school, Audrey Hills. In 3rd place, and our billboard winner, Catherine Justo. And in 2nd place, Shanwee Park. And our first place, Gabrielle Coloma, out of La Quinta Middle School.
All right, I think each and every pieces of those artworks are amazing, and they each deserve one more round of applause for all of our amazing students. And thank you so much to Manuel Gatan, once again, District Manager of Riverside County Citrus Pest Control District, for presenting tonight. And congratulations, everyone. We're going to hear remarks from the board, and then once that concludes, we'll all gather in the lobby for a photo op. Thank you.
Introduction of newer recently promoted employees. Dr. Hyde.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Ruben Saldivar to come forward, please, to the dais. May not realize, Mr. Salvador is actually the new assistant principal at Washington Charter Elementary School, but he's not new to the district or Washington Charter. Ruben earned his Associate of Arts degree in Bible and Theology from Christian Life College, his Bachelor of Science degree in Social Science, and Master of Arts degree in Education with an emphasis in Instructional Technology from Chapman University. Ruben began his career as a one-to-one special education paraeducator and then transitioned to a classroom in the Coachella Valley Unified School District before coming to Desert Sands in 2010. Ruben has taught all grades from 2nd to 5th and most recently served as the project teacher at Washington Charter Elementary School. Ruben would like to acknowledge his wife, Catalina, his daughters, Victoria, I think it's Brianda, Bella, and his son, RJ, as well as his mother, Lupe Salvador, and his dog, Wesley Cow. So, Ruben, I wanted to say welcome, congratulations. Please, if you have any guests, introduce them and maybe say a few words.
I will. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Mae Valmar, Cabinet, District Board of Education, Board President Kaylee Watson, and members of the Board of Trustees. Thank you. And to all distinguished guests that are here present and watching online. If you have told me this back in 1999 when I started as a Para 1 educator, to be assistant principal, I probably would have scoffed and laughed at you. But I've learned that through that experience, every challenge and every opportunity has brought me to this moment. And I want to begin to thank so many people for their trust and the opportunity to do this. But foremost, I want to thank you for the trust and the responsibility that you have placed in me as something that I do not take lightly, but I take it with great care and responsibility and with deep respect. And so I thank you, and I choose to commit to serve. I want you to know that I come here leading with a servant leadership style. That means I don't look at this as a title or a position, but I look at it as an opportunity to serve our community and our district because I am DSUSD. My journey, as you said, started at WCS, and from there I went from Coachella Valley Unified School District. And then I came back here, DSUSD, during the time of pink slips was prominent. And I did not know it then, but at that time, it really helped form what I was to do here today. And I'm so glad to be back here to serve the DSUSD. There's so many people I want to thank and honor who have shaped this path before me. First, as you said, my wife, Catalina, or as she likes to be known as Kat. You have been my rock. You've always seen something in me. Even when I didn't even see it in myself. Your love and your belief and your unwavering support for me has carried me through those late nights, through those difficult decisions, and every step that I had to move forward. Thank you for being my greatest encouragement, and this moment not only belongs to me, but to you as well. Thank you. To my children, Victoria, Brianda, Bella, and RJ, you inspire me every day. I thank God for the gift of being your father. You've shaped me who I am. You've taught me patience, given me purpose, and you've always challenged me to do better. So, and yes, thank you for even putting up with me at times. And of course, I can't forget our family dog, Wesley Cow, who has brought so much joy and excitement and fervor to our family. There's two men that I want to honor today. They may know it or not know it, but I have looked at them as great role models and leaders and as mentors in my life. First is Mr. Clayton Hill, Assistant Superintendent at Palm Springs Unified, who has also served here as Desert Sands. I'd like to say, Clayton, first, you were my friend, and you're a mentor without even knowing it. From our courtside chats of our boys' basketball travel, basketball games and practices, and to that one memorable moment when we had breakfast at Snooze with our families. You've always were willing to share and pour into me and share your experience and advice. I'll never forget the way you challenged me at Snooze breakfast that morning. You nonchalantly in your way just said, why don't you go in administration? You're already doing the work. You saw something in me that I didn't even see. So I followed your advice, and here I am. So board, if you're not pleased, you can have Clayton to blame. I also want to thank another person who's played a big part, Mr. Lehman. Mr. Lehman, you tapped me on the shoulder and you gave me a chance. You believed in me and you trusted me as an admin designee. And for some reason, whenever you left property, it seemed things to always go sideways. But I don't know if that was by design or by chance. But I just want to say thank you for allowing me and trusting me to step in those moments. That trust was something that I do not take lightly, and it meant everything to me. Even when I made those mistakes, Mr. Lehman, you didn't judge me. You guided me. You cleaned up my messes with me and not for me. You invited me into those hard conversations, the tough meetings, and those real leadership moments, and I learned so much from being by your side. So thank you for showing me what steady, relational, and effective leadership looks like. To my current principal, Dr. Longoria, thank you for believing in my leadership. Thank you for letting me grow alongside you, for seeing potential and giving me room to fail and to stretch. I'm honored to serve with you, and I look forward to building something powerful and wonderful together at WCS. To all my WCS colleagues that are here present, that I may be watching online, to families and students, whether you're here or online, thank you so much for embracing me and welcoming me, and thank you for the trust that you have placed in me. It is my deepest desire to serve you with integrity, humility, and with care. Just know that I will make mistakes, a lot of them, but I will always grow, and I promise to lead from heart and from a place of care. I also like to share that before I close, I want to honor my family that raised me and modeled me with a servant leadership style. To my father, may he rest in peace. Thank you, Dad, for being that quiet strength in my life and for the example of guiding, and that your example still guides me. To my brother, Viviano Jr., I've always looked up to you, and I still do. To my sister, Naomi, thank you for your thoughtfulness, gestures, and your loving support. But I'd like to give distinguished honor to two people, my sister, Patty Leon, and my mother, Lupe Saldivar. To my sister, Patty, who has served DSUSD for 37 years, first starting as a switchboard operator and moving into fiscal services, but I'm not sure if you're still retired because I think she still goes in and helps out at times. But I just want to say thank you for all the work that you've done behind the scenes. You've ensured that teachers and schools got what they needed, and you have shown through your quiet and consistent excellence looks like, so thank you. And to my mother, Lupe Saldivar, who also spent 32 years as a special ed paraeducator here for Desert Sands Unified School District, supporting students with special needs, walking beside them with patience, dignity, and love. Thank you for showing me what service looks like, that it's not being in the front, but it's always supporting and being present. Both of you have showed me year after year that it's not about the recognition, because you believed in the district and in the students of this district, that is why you gave of your time, your talent, and your hearts. So in this new role, I don't hope just to follow in your footsteps. I intend to carry your legacy forward with the same purpose, dedication, and heart that you have lived out daily for our school districts. You have laid the foundation, and now it's my job to continue to build on it. And lastly, thank you so much, Board of Education and Board of Trustees, for this time. I'd like to say again, thank you, and I do not take your trust lightly, but I just want to share that it is a tremendous honor for me, and I believe that we are part of something special at Washington Charter. I truly believe that the Desert Sands Unified School District and Washington Charter has a very unique and modeled partnership. A dependent charter working hand in hand with the district. And I believe that together, I have seen together that we have weathered many storms, many challenges, and we have also celebrated many successes, all for the betterment of all of our students. So that, to me, that is what collaboration looks like. And I am thrilled to contribute and to continue that valuable partnership. I look forward to serving with you, for you, and alongside you as we move WCS and Desert Sands Unified to its greatest heights yet. And as they say, teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you.
Pierce?
Yes, I want to congratulate Mr. Lawson for his award of Management Employee of the Century. And was so sorry that I missed I've never missed any graduation since I've been on the board, but I had to miss Indio Highs and all the special things that went on. And I also missed your retirement being out of town. So anyway, I spoke to you earlier on my own. So I want to congratulate. I love the agri-art contest, and you can tell the schools that focus on entering it by the winners too. And the family, I guess you're an artist family, the Coloma family, between Gabriela and, what did I write here? Antonio. You guys are amazing, and the creativity and everything, I just love it, and I'm glad that Catherine, God, I have to put my glasses on, Catherine Husto, I believe, from Palm Desert will be on that billboard, and I'll have to watch out for that. Also, I just want to say that in the last 3 weeks between the last board meeting, I attended as representing the board for the Head Start budget meeting and got to listen to all their ins and outs on how they're spending their money, and looking forward to financing it and handling the 4-year-olds going over to TK and taking the younger ones in. And so it's always interesting to be involved with that. The Do the Right Thing event that happens monthly in Palm Springs with the Palm Springs Police and that foundation, and watching every high school in the entire valley get scholarships for at least 2 seniors equaling $60,000 that evening was very special, in addition to their normal awardees. Also attended the RCOE Student of the Year that is held, but this one's special because they pick one student from each high school, and those were really well-deserved recognition. So I attended the other 6 graduations, was very happy to be there to shake hands and just watch you just have a smile on your face the entire hour, 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours that it's going on, because all the kids coming up are so excited, and it's just something that is very special to be a part of. I'd like to just take this time to wish all the families, staff, and kids a wonderful summer vacation. I look forward to driving by several school sites and seeing the ELOP programs, our extended school year, summer school going on, open to all the kids that want to be there. And so I'm excited for that, and just hoping everybody has a safe summer, and looking forward to the new year, but not too quickly. Thank you.
Alvarez?
I want to reiterate some of the sentiments shared by Ms. Pierce. Certainly to Mr. Lawson, it was great to see you at your celebration, sir, and certainly admire the career you've had. Appreciate all the things you do for not only your school side, but for the district and for the broader education community that I know you're a part of. So I just want to say thank you for your service, and it's well deserved, your new chapter in life. So many blessings to you as you move forward with that. And certainly the art contest is amazing. We have many talented, as you saw on the screen up there, many talented artists around us. So congratulations to each and every one of you. I think it's pretty exciting to have your drawing up on a billboard for many people to see day in and day out. So good job to Catherine. And to Mr. Saldivar, the sincerity and passion in your message, sir. Well said. Well said. And we look forward to the collaboration you'll have with your team and look forward to a successful career. But thank you. It was moving, it was touching, and we are sure that you'll do some fabulous things there at Washington Charter. It is the end of the year. I, for one, am tired as someone in the trenches day in and day out with some of you. And we are looking forward to a little bit of rest, well-deserved rest. And I want to say thank you to the teachers, the aides, every classified member on the sites, district office supporting everyone, to the admin who's put in double time. Just thank you for a successful school year. Many individuals have caused learning throughout this past year, and we're thankful for all the efforts you guys have put into that. And our students, they are challenged, and they are looking forward to a new school year. So as they get their rest, I know we have to get some rest time, but I know you'll be preparing down the road for that. We do have some great programs this summer, so if you're not aware of that, please reach out. We do have some good ELAP programs that are available to our community, and we look forward to visiting with them and seeing how they are benefiting our broader community. So thank you, everyone, and stay safe this summer.
I forgot to mention Mr. Saldivar. I mean, I listened to your speech, and it was very inspiring, and you have a family history of everybody in the district got their hands in somewhere. But anyway, good luck at Washington Charter as an AP. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Ms. Porras. Well, first of all, Derek, of course, you're employee of the century. But I'm just like so blessed to have known you all these years, and you are going to be missed at Indio High School. And it was a wonderful graduation. I thought it was just very special and a great send-off for you. And I'm sorry I missed your retirement party, but I had to go to Arizona for my aunt's 90th birthday. So, but anyway, I know that we're going to see you around. I do not think this is it. So I was like, when I saw in the audience, I thought, man, he's still here. So this is great. But anyway, congratulations for everything, and I just excited for you for your retirement. And I attended all the graduations, and what I loved about the graduations is the glowing excitement that all the kids had. It was just, every single one of them were just beaming, and it's just wonderful to stand there and shake their hands and have them cross the finish line, right? So anyway, we have a great future with all of our children that have graduated. And also the students that did the artwork, you guys are just phenomenal. I mean, every single one, how can you choose? That is just so amazing. But all of it, the Coloma family, you guys are have excellent, I mean, did they start drawing when they were in kindergarten or something? Because they're just excellent artists, and everybody did a great job. And of course, Catherine, who's still your Billboard winner, I look forward to seeing that. So congratulations on that. Ruben, man, I didn't know you knew so many people. I'm looking at Patty going what, that's your sister? Really? So anyway, that's so exciting. I know you're so proud, and I'm excited, so excited for you to have that position, and well-deserved, and I think it's just going to be amazing. You're going to work really well, and so excited for you. And your mom's here, and your kids, and your wife, and everybody. It's just really, really wonderful. So nice to meet you, Mom. I've never seen you before, but you have wonderful children. You've done a great job. So, and that's all I have, but thank you so much.
Corinne.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'd like to just begin by congratulating all the art students, of course. I have a big passion for art. It's something I really enjoy, and I love seeing the creativity and also the expertise that is exhibited in all the drawings that we see here today. So congratulations. Keep up the good work, and and you'll do, I'm sure, you're going to have a great next year too. And to Ruben too, Salvador, congratulations, all right, and I'm sure you'll, Washington Charter, as you stated, it has always seemed that way when that boss steps away, everything goes crazy. You don't know if it's by design or if it's just by luck of the draw, but I know you're going to be a success there, and I look forward to seeing and hearing more of your adventures there. I'd also like to just, I can tell you about Derek Lawson, and I just want to say this quickly because Derek and I know each other since we went to elementary to school. We spent a lot of time at each other's homes back in the day, and Derek was teaching before he was getting paid, and I can tell you that because he taught me how to play chess. And then he proceeded to beat me every time, and then I said, I don't like chess. I want to go outside and do something else. But, what a compassionate man, what a compassionate individual, somebody who absolutely, when he's presenting, you are just a student, literally, automatically. And I said when he was giving the commencement speech at Indio High School, this final one, and he referred back to 1980, okay, I'll date us, Derek, okay, and I looked at someone and I said, oh, I guarantee you that's exactly what he said, the principal at that time. He has an immense capacity to just remember everything and gather all these facts and data points and remember people's names and students, and they love him forever. And I will tell you this, I'm also in the profession, and my draw, as I say, I'm the only one that works in all 3 districts every single day of the week, but everywhere I go, I will say this, they all say, hey, that guy at Indio High, man, that was the only guy I ever would have liked to have worked for, They say that all the time to me, and I said, well, you missed your shot. He's gone. But Derek, thank you so much for the years of service you gave to us and everything. A lot of big shoes to fill around there when we get to that point. And students, again, back to your artwork and your commitment to your craft, I have to tell you, please, please, let us know. If I had a daughter and she is a very good artist, she ends up in another line of work, but at the end of the day, I remember being at the school and pulling her out of a honors class, that's all I'll say, so that her schedule could fit for art. Because Mom and Dad, if it makes them happy, it makes them better. And with that, I'll let you have a great summer. Thank you.
Thank you. I will kind of reiterate what everybody said, but to our artists, every time I see our students' art, it amazes me. I'm a doctor and people can barely read my writing. There's no way I could draw anything close to what you guys do, so congratulations on your great artwork. For the graduations, I attended all of the graduations except for Horizon. I was unable to, I was at work. But I want to thank everybody behind the scenes. We're there for the couple of hours, but I know how much time and effort goes into it. All of our security guards that are there, making sure everybody is safe and everybody is doing what they're supposed to. The janitors, the counselors, getting everything organized, just all of our staff in general, our cabinet and our superintendent for being present, and our board for being there. And I appreciate all of the effort that our board members put into their speeches, and just made it very personal, and I know that our students appreciated that. I also want to publicly acknowledge we have amazing city council members and mayors, and they show up, and they don't just show up, but they show up with a smile on their face. They're there the whole time, and they are excited, and they know our students. And so I want to thank all of our city council members and mayors that came to all of our graduations as well. Mr. Saldivar, I know a lot of parents at Washington Charter, and I don't think there's a single one that's upset that you are the assistant principal. So I know they're in good hands. And then Mr. Lawson, well deserved. Obviously, everybody can say everything positive about you. I did not go to elementary school with him, but I have known him for quite a while. And I do have to share a story there. When I first talked to you about school, well before I was on the board, You were in my exam room, and he said to me, by the third day of school, I know every single student. He was the principal at Page. I know every single student's name to their face. And I thought, there's no way that this guy is actually telling me the truth. So I asked your wife, and she told me that it was true, that you actually did do that. So that just proves how amazing of an educator you are and how amazing of a principal you are. So thank you for all of your years. Dr. May Wilmore.
Thank you. Definitely congratulations to Derek for just a lifetime of service. So very proud of you. But as Ruben made very clear, we don't ever really let anyone retire. So he'll be around for a long time. The artwork, just quickly, the artwork was amazing. I mean, I can't draw either, so I'm always so impressed. And Ruben, we're so excited and so happy for you and what everything's going to bring. I actually was going to say the same thing that Dr. Watson did in regards to all the work behind the scenes at graduation. So I won't reiterate that, but I will extend an additional thank you to our local law enforcement that comes out and works with us and provides security to help our own security. It does take so many hands behind the scenes, and so you're appreciated. I'll just end by saying we launched summer school this week. That was, a short little blip of a break between the school year ending and summer school starting. And I just want to say thank you to all the staff members that are contributing to summer school, that are not 12-month employees, that are choosing to give more time to service our students and to be there for them. So everybody working summer school, thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to give everyone that came for recognition the opportunity to go and celebrate with your family and friends, unless you're staying for the remainder of the meeting.
And Mike.
Public comment on open session items. Communications from the floor in accordance with bylaws of the board number 9323. Time is reserved for oral communication by members of the Board of Education or by citizens. Citizens wishing to be heard on agenda items, regular or special meetings, and/or non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, regular meetings only, shall have a 3-minute limit. A total of 20 minutes will be reserved for public comment on each item. The board president, with concurrence of the board, may extend this time if deemed appropriate due to the number of citizens who wish to speak on an item. In accordance with the law, the board cannot take action on any matter not appearing on the agenda, as indicated in the bylaws of the board number 9232.2. Individual speakers shall be allowed a 3-minute limit to address the board on each agenda, regular or special meeting, or non-agenda item, regular meeting. The board shall limit total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Please be advised there is a possibility that some items discussed during public comment will not be developmentally appropriate for minors. We ask that parents use their discretion when choosing to remain in the boardroom during public comment. If you choose to leave the room, you may wait in the overflow location at the end of the hallway and be notified when public comments have concluded. So, online public comments. From Trina Gonzalez-Alisi. I wish to address concerns I have after attending the last board meeting on May 20th. When it came time to ask for future agenda items, it seemed that board president created a tense atmosphere when it wasn't necessary to do so. We are Desert Sands. We are not like some of the other school districts in how we treat each other. Board President Watson interrupted Board Member Pierce multiple times when she was trying to state her opinion, when Dr. Watson was not interrupted once when she was reading her prepared statement. As a community member and employee of Desert Sands, I expect better behavior from our school board members. Now that the meetings are recorded and put on YouTube, they are there for everyone to see. Please keep in mind when addressing colleagues. Thank you. Linda Davis. I applaud the Desert Sands trustees for addressing Title IX by adding Resolution 29/2024-2025. However, it does not go far enough to ensure fairness and physical safety for girls participating in sports. CIF Bylaw 300D that allows boys to participate in girls' sports must be also addressed. Please add to your resolution that you will not implement CIF Bylaw 300D to further solidify your commitment to protecting our girls. And Lisa Talley. Good evening to the members of the DSUSD Board of Education. I'm writing regarding the resolution currently up for approval related to Title IX. While I appreciate the board's effort to recognize that this resolution is a step in the right direction, I believe it falls short of fully addressing the issue at hand. The original version of the resolution included a key statement in paragraph 4. Biological differences between male and female athletes can create inherent advantages in competitive sports, particularly in categories designed specifically for girls. This language is both scientifically accurate and essential to the intent of protecting fairness in girls' athletics. It is concerning that this critical distinction has been removed from the revised version currently on the agenda. This is not a fringe view. More than 80% of the public supports maintaining fairness in girls' and women's sports based on biological realities. It is common sense that boys and girls are differently abled in ways that matter in competition. Title IX was created to ensure that girls have equal opportunities to participate and excel in sports. Diluting the language in the resolution undermines that goal. It was never about ensuring that men could compete. It was never about ensuring that men could compete against women, because at the time it was written, I imagine that was considered a ludicrous idea. That never crossed the minds of the legislators who backed it. I urge you to amend the resolution and restore the original language that acknowledges the biological differences between the sexes. A boy is not a girl just because he says so. This is an opportunity for you to show leadership, uphold fairness, and protect the integrity of girls' sports in DSUSD. Please do what you know is right. Respectfully, Lisa Talley. Okay. Sean Graves.
It's your fault. Okay, good evening. My name is Sean Graves. I'm a math teacher here at LQMS. Please don't worry, this isn't a complaint or a fire to put out, but rather a celebration of a quiet yet powerful force in our district. My son, Charles Graves, Charlie, joined the district at the same time I did, as a sophomore. He's on the autism spectrum, and I have been his sole caretaker since the middle of 7th grade. Every single district he had been enrolled at up until DSUSD had been a problem, a constant and bitter fight to get Charlie what he needed. I was an angry thorn in their side, and multi-day IEPs with 10 plus adults in the room were not uncommon. One of its biggest sticking points was Charlie's one-to-one para-support provider. At first, they were assigned because Charlie was a runner. They like to use the word elope in special ed. As he aged, they always tried to strip them away from him, always citing money or Charlie not being severe enough, whatever that meant. I never let them go, and I'm glad I didn't. This is why I'm here today before you this evening, a week after I had the pleasure of watching my son cross LQHS's stage in white robes in the second row, all by himself, a summa cum laude graduate. His para, Brenda Quintana, deserves special recognition. This woman has dedicated her professional career for the past 3 years to Charlie. She is just as responsible for the successes he has earned as any of us. She has become a second mother, nurturing, loving, and sometimes even feeding a sweet boy who struggles sometimes to function. Don't we all? She always had a Jolly Rancher in her pocket to toss at him when he kicked butt on an assignment or finished the day without blowing up. She trotted along beside him as he made his way from class to class, always careful not to encroach but to keep an eye sharp. She fostered communication, empathy, encouraged his friendships, and talked him down when a perceived wrong had taken place. She held him accountable for his behavior, work, and mouth, That is no easy task when you have a Graves man in your midst. I now know that when he starts his college career this fall at UC Santa Cruz, majoring in computer science game design on a complete academic ride, he will be okay. She helped him with that. Really, none of this would be possible without the SPED team at LQHS, Dr. Jackson, who Charlie calls
J Money.
his case manager, Jen Robinson, Dr. Strange, and all the support providers for speech, ABA, and mental health, his swim coach, Stephanie Adams, and especially his counselor, Michelle Morales, all poured themselves into my son, and it was noticed. God, I'm going to go over. We saw Brenda and her daughter at graduation the other night. They brought Charlie wonderful and thoughtful gifts going way above and beyond. She texted me pictures and told me that Charlie is part of their family. That's not something he nor I take lightly. It means more than you could think of. I could see a genuine sadness in her eyes, and I had managed to not cry until I saw that. I think that's how we as educators, I just finished year 23, don't realize how invested our support staff are in the students they serve, and they are just sending their kids away just as we parents are. I had the unique position to see it all that night. It was incredible, and it gave me perspective and hope. Last paragraph. I feel like the normal forms of recognition, while valid, are not enough for Brenda. She deserves more. I'm genuinely stuck, so I'm doing something I hate to do, and I'm asking for help from our professional learning community to collectively say thank you to Brenda and everyone else that gives our kids their absolute best every single day. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great end of your school year.
Derek Lawson.
I want to share really quickly, and I'm going to try to get this done in 3 minutes because you kind of gave it a head start, you and Dr. Vollmer, with some thank yous. But on behalf of all the high school principals, first I want to say thank you to the board and cabinet for being at all of our graduations. It's the most public event of our school year and seen by the most number of people in the public. But in spite of thanking you, there's other people I think need to be thanked, and that is our classified staff. And I want to shine a light. Number one, security agents are tired. They've been doing 24-hour security at all of our sites, and they still showed up on time, directly leaving their work site, coming to each of the high schools to work graduation without having time to go home and shower, get dinner, or any of that. They came and worked every graduation tirelessly. And on top of it, all of our lead agents and Chandler went together and corroborated and collaborated with police departments and sheriff departments to provide outstanding service at graduation for safety. Our nutrition services helped with various receptions for our dignitaries and for our security staff who had to come from one work site directly to the graduation and didn't have a chance to go home. They did all of that preparation. Our warehouse and transportation departments worked together to coordinate getting equipment, generators, wiring, stages, deliveries of everything from print items to food items to caps and gowns, and all the regalia being delivered from Jostens to the warehouse, getting it to our school sites so that it could be there on time for graduations, and turning around and transporting seniors to the elementary schools for senior walks so that we can inspire our elementary kids to seek graduation in their future. Then our custodial, grounds, and maintenance departments in collaboration worked with extra preparation, touching up paint, touching up fields, turning off sprinklers and coming back to turn them back on so that it wouldn't involve messing up stages or the graduation ceremony or coming on while parents are walking in and out. Our accounting and purchasing department, little is ever said about them. Boy, did they work hard, because at the last minute, I cannot tell you how many purchase orders had to be redone because with just tariffs and other unexpected costs, when things finally arrived, they were a lot more than we thought. So they had to turn around and take care of purchase orders and putting things on cards and getting all those items to us on time. Our school site office and clerical staff volunteered to be ticket takers, reception preparers, runners, and check-in for students. Graphic services staff on a dime turned it around and reprinted or fixed tickets or programs because of changes in who was going to be coming or not, or last-minute kids that made it across the finish line and needed to be in the program. Also printing A-frames for safety to put in all of our parking lots at each of the graduations. Our risk management, working with all the contracts and making arrangements so that each of the schools that had fireworks had them done safely and in the proper way, and helped to coordinate to get ambulance services there and paramedic services nearby should we have had to have their help. And I saved the sweetest one for last. Please pardon this last one. In Desert Sands, in public education, we educate everyone. Notice I said public education, everyone. I want to say thank you to our paraeducators. We had paraeducators at each staff working with our medically severe, and our most severe disabled children. At 2 or 3 of the schools, they were out there doing ASL so that the kids could be in their own graduation. At 2 of our sites, they were walking one by one with a student who has a white cane because of being blind to make sure they could go over the curbs and up the ramps and receive their diploma, not in a separate ceremony, but in the one they belonged to. They were there with children who had leg braces and in wheelchairs at my school and at all the others to make sure that my 8 severe handicapped children and all the ones at each of those 6 schools could participate completely with their peers and participate in that ceremony. And we had one-on-ones that were there for our kids who have the challenge of potential epileptic seizures triggered by flashing lights or fireworks. They were there to be right there to help those kids to be safe and participate as long as possible. And at all the graduations, every one of them made it to the end, participated fully. Thank you to our classified for all the behind the scenes that maybe not everybody knows about. Thank you.
Vincent. Samuel Vincent.
Hello. My name is Samuel Vincent, and I'm a proud employee and product of Desert Sands. For 22 years, I've poured my heart into this district, and I'm proud to be a graduate of Indio High School. We as DSUSD stand for something truly special. We champion our district's values, such as respect and kindness and inclusion. Our portrait of a graduate includes a commitment to empathy and integrity. And as a board, you have prioritized mental health. And these aren't just bullet points, they are the principles that define us. I can remember the pioneering days of our student assistance program, when other districts looked to us inspired and striving to replicate what we had built. Even as a student myself, I benefited from its vital resources. We are a beacon, a leader, and a source of profound support. Now we stand at a juncture with this proposed resolution affirming Title IX referenced in Executive Order 14201, keeping men out of women's sports. I understand the board president's acknowledgement that any decision will leave some feelings hurt, and this resolution would just be a message. But let's be unequivocally clear about who will feel this hurt most acutely and who will bear the deepest weight of this resolution. Its true impact will resonate painfully with our trans and gender nonconforming students. These are young people you may not fully understand, but I know that you want to understand them, and I know that you care about them. Our students are demographically likely to support LGBT+ rights. As a whole, they see the big picture, and they can see this resolution for what it is, an implicit vilification of trans students and their families. This is at its core an LGBTQ+ rights issue. The same tired, fear-based tactics are being used to alienate and discriminate against gay and that were being used to discriminate and alienate gay and lesbian students and school employees are surfacing again, being repackaged, and now being used against the trans community. Let's be frank, this resolution will not enhance opportunities or fairness in girls' sports. It won't solve any issues of safety in the locker rooms. It will, however, make our district a pawn in a larger culture war. DSUSD has always been a lighthouse, a symbol of hope and progress, and to shift from being a district that champions its most vulnerable students to one that follows misguided paths, adopting premature and performative resolutions would be a profound disservice. It would be something our students, I assure you, would be ashamed of. Sometimes the bravest, wisest, and most impactful action is to vote no. To reject a resolution is not to hide behind the law or to avoid a conversation, but to create space for more conversations, for deeper understanding. I implore you as you consider this resolution to remember our values, remember the students we serve, consider the message we're sending to our most vulnerable students and their families, and let us continue to be the lighthouse that guides and protects all of our students without exception.
Reno Barella.
Well, I haven't been here for a while, but after watching the last meeting, bravo to you, Dr. Watson, for having a definitive answer to whether boys should be competing with girls. I have 2 daughters myself. So I want to address the gentleman. I mean, your house is on fire. How long do you wait before you go and rescue your girls? When I listened to you guys, you went on and didn't actually have a definitive no boys and girls sports. Girls get hurt because boys who identify themselves as females. It doesn't work. I did martial arts for many, many years, and we had a lot of girls trying to compete with the boys, but we also made sure the boys knew the difference between competing with a girl and a boy. You can push the boys a little harder. The girls, you gotta let them have a little bit more of advantage so that when they're out there in the real world, they're not gonna feel so defeated. Not only do girls can get hurt, they miss out on a lot of opportunities if they're competing at a college level and they are competing against a boy who's obviously stronger, faster, can jump higher. They're not going to get that same opportunity. So I haven't been here for a while, but when I heard last week, and I just had to come and say something because I'm so proud of my own daughter's accomplishments. But if they would have had to compete against the boys, trust me, I probably would have been arrested because there's no way that's going to happen. And I was just kind of offended that it took so long for you gentlemen not to say no boys competing against girls. You talked about California, you know, it's a great state. Yes, I'm born and raised here, but look at the education. What is our test scores? Why are they trying to pass a bill to lower the test scores? They're going to give us, what, a 30, and that's going to be passing? So California is struggling, and we need a stronger leadership to make sure to protect our girls and get to the point. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm going to say this name wrong, I think. Marginia Orantes.
Hello and good afternoon. Good evening, board members and Madam President. My name is Marginia Orantes. I am a teacher, a mandated reporter, and I speak tonight with the full knowledge and authorization of Mr. John Ochoa, the legal parent of Ariel Ochoa. In front of you, you should have a packet that I have made for every single person on this board, and it should have been distributed. The legal parent of Ariel Ochoa, a student in this district, I also speak as an informed educator with direct knowledge of the facts and as someone who's deeply concerned about how this district has managed repeated procedural and legal violations over the last 4 years. Since 2021, Mr. Ochoa has maintained a detailed, documented timeline, now submitted for your review, covering failures by both site and district personnel to follow federal educational law, FERPA and California Education Code, as well as a valid court order mandating joint legal custody over educational decisions. In one critical example, the district failed to respond to a special education referral within 15-day legal deadline. An assessment plan was not issued until more than 60 days later, and when it was lacked the required scope to evaluate key areas of need, this delay had consequence for timely intervention. In 2025, a copy of the student's cumulative file was produced without Mr. Ochoa's original referral letter, despite its confirmed presence in 2022 version of the same file. The missing document was only located after formal complaints were filed with the U.S. Department of Education. To dismiss this as a mere clerical error ignores both the timeline and the pattern. More recently, a Section 504 plan was finalized and implemented without the consent or participation of both legal custodians. Despite a valid, enforceable court order requiring joint educational decision-making, this is not a matter of family court enforcement. It is a matter of following federal law and honoring a student's procedural rights. This is not about one mistake or one meeting. It's about a systemic breakdown in compliance over 4 years, one that has caused real harm to a student entitled to lawful, timely support. On behalf of Mr. Ochoa, I respectfully urge this board to review the submitted timeline, intake an independent investigation, and ensure that the rights of this student and others like him are no longer overlooked. Thank you very much. And before I conclude, I just want to say that in 20 years of being in education, I've never ever in my life, and being a graduate of this district, seen a personnel be act in so much content to a very, very present father who wants to see his child be very successful. And in these last 4 years, he's been dismissed, overlooked, and sidelined. And if we can't remember this as educators, then it is frankly disheartening that this district cannot do what's best for the child and not what is best for its personal appearance. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can you pass them down?
Pass them?
Yeah. Yeah. Did it?
Penny Snell?
Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, I have a hearing disability that makes me want to project my voice a lot, so oftentimes I sound hard. I'll try to keep it conversational. Is that good right now? Okay. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate you for taking that step of putting the Title IX resolution on the agenda and recommending to adopt it. But like others, I feel it's very tepid and you just gutted out a lot of the main points. But I do understand it's baby steps for you. You got to realize you're at the other end of an 80-20% issue. You're at the 20%. All right, so I wanted to expand on a couple of the gentleman's comments about protecting their daughters at that last meeting, and I commend you for that. I think we can agree that it's every father's right, parent's right to protect their children. It's their duty to protect their children. So I want to tell you a little something about that, because I don't think you'd want to deny others that right. So in 2022, I asked the district through a California Public Request Act of how many gender support plans they had in the district. They couldn't tell me. So I adjusted it. I asked for a copy of every gender support plan. 192 gender support plans from 2016 to 2022. I want to point a couple things out here. This area right here, it says what sex was the child assigned at birth, which implies the district believes that children are just randomly assigned at the whim of a doctor when they're born, that you don't believe in male and female. Also on here is what staff that student's going to talk to. Also on here is, do the parents know? And it's obvious many of these said no, even though it's fully redacted. Yes doesn't fit in a shorter thing. So if you don't believe me, I encourage you to go look at this public, the unredacted. You'll see. So my question is, why do you think that you should be able to protect your daughters, have a duty for your children, while you deny parents their right and their duty to protect their own children? Because a lot of these are in secret. You're not telling the parents. This is not your wheelhouse. This is not your job. It's not your lane. Your test scores are abysmal. Some of them are in single digits. I think one school has 0% proficiency in math and science. Only one school, I think, is over 30. Do you know that you have two schools, Amelia Earhart Elementary is one, where you have students identify as non-binary? How does that happen? So pass the Title IX, but realize you got a lot more steps to take. And I'd like to see how many of these happen from 2022 to the present day. So I think we might find that out soon. Thank you for your time.
This is impromptu, so it won't be as articulated as others, but I just wanted to start out by saying, I Googled the definition of the best leader, right? A definition of a leader. It's someone who inspires passion, motivates, and motivation. A leader is someone with a vision and a path of realizing it. And a leader is someone who ensures their team has the support and tools to achieve their goals. So I want to talk about two leaders that I had the privilege of working with and are retiring, which the first one's going to be Mr. Lawson. I had the privilege of seeing Mr. Lawson not only connect with kids, but work tirelessly to be at every single event at that school to take photos so people had memories of everything that they did. He always had an open door policy where anybody could walk in there and have a conversation with him. He was never too busy for you. He inspired me to move on to the district office. And when I moved to the district office working as patrol, I don't know if anybody saw this, but I had the privilege of seeing Mr. Lawson work after hours tirelessly, late into the night, making sure that things were done for the next day and prepared. Through the weekends, I had the privilege of seeing him work. That's the side of administration, and especially Mr. Lawson, that the public won't see, that people don't see. They see him here in the boardroom, but they don't see that dedication and passion. So I wanted to thank Mr. Lawson for that and your support throughout the years. The other leader that's had an impact on my career and guidance is Mr. Nakua, who is not here tonight, but he's also retiring. Mr. Nakua has always had an open door policy. He's always not only taught me, but helped me learn and grow as a leader, as well as always had that open door policy as well. The thing that others might not see with Mr. Nakua is you could call him at any time in the night, no matter what it was. If you needed advice and support, 1 or 2 in the morning, something was going on, he was a phone call away. And it was just as easy as that. So I wanted to thank Mr. Nakua for his support and his leadership, not only for me, but for our department as well. He's had a huge impact on our growth and where we're at today for student and staff safety. So I want to thank him for that. The other part of it is I want to echo Mr. Lawson's sentiment with the appreciation for everybody's hard work behind the scenes on graduation. Without all the work of our campus security agents working tirelessly on vandalism watch 24 hours a day, monitoring cameras, our classified staff getting everything prepared. I went to all the graduation with the exception of Horizon. My son had an event that day, or a sporting thing that he went to, so I spent time with him. But I got to see all that hard work behind the scenes, and it never ceases to amaze me the amount of dedication our staff has without recognition whatsoever. I wanted to thank our cabinet members, specifically Dr. Vollmer and Mr. Aquino as well. What you guys don't see with them is that there was a lot of communication behind the scenes as far as safety and security regarding our staff and students. So that was amazing as well. So thank you for your leadership, and I appreciate you guys letting me address you.
Thank you. That concludes public comments. 15, information. Indio High School cheerleading team will participate in the United Spirit Association 2025 Cheer Camp in Thousand Oaks, California from July 18th to 21st, 2025. Staff conference items, Dr. May Volmar.
All right, we are going to start with the Local Control Accountability Plan presentation. I'll turn that over to Dr. Wood.
All right, I'd like to welcome up to the dais Gabriela Llamas, our LCAP coordinator, who is going to present the LCAP presentation.
Good evening, President Watson, trustees, Dr. May Volmer, and cabinet members. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to present the draft of our local control and accountability plan. This presentation highlights our reflections from year 1 and outlines our strategic direction for year 2 of this 3-year cycle. I want to refer to, in front of you, you'll have LCAP information binder. It includes the slide presentation and a working draft of our annual update, a 1-page infographic summarizing the plan, and this presentation. To support your review, we've tabbed each section of the LCAP, beginning with the budget overview, which will be covered by Mr. Aquino later in the presentation. The LCAP tells the story of how Desert Sands is working to improve outcomes for all students, with a specific focus on our English learners, low-income, and students in foster care. Our work has been guided by the district's vision, mission, and values, as well as the board priorities that you've set forth. And these are reflected across our 3 goals. In Goal 1, we focus on raising student achievement and strengthening early literacy. In Goal 2, we address college and career readiness. And in Goal 3, we prioritize social emotional learning and mental health supports. To meet our state expectations, our plan addresses the 8 state priorities defined by California. And these priorities serve as the framework for improving student outcomes. Basic services ensures that students have access to fully credentialed teachers, standards-aligned materials, and well-maintained facilities. The implementation of academic standards relates to how we bring California content standards to life across subject areas such as ELA, math, science, ELD, and more. Parent involvement highlights the meaningful opportunities for families to participate in learning and decision-making. And student achievement is measured using multiple indicators like test scores, English proficiency, and graduation rates. Student engagement addresses chronic absenteeism and dropout prevention. School climate considers data on suspensions, expulsions, and perception surveys from our community. Course access ensures students have equitable access to core academics, CTE, and college courses. And other pupil outcome refers to the results from district and state assessments across subject areas. And under each of our goal descriptions, you will find the list of priorities that it covers. The development of our LCAP is a collaborative and inclusive process. Educational partners across community come together to analyze data, share perspectives, and contribute to the design of this plan. The voices of our LCAP Advisory Committee, parent groups, school staff, site leaders, district administrators, and students were instrumental in shaping priorities. And these contributions are detailed in the section titled Engaging Educational Partners. This slide demonstrates how educational partner input directly shaped the LCAP process. To address behaviors, elementary schools will implement calming corners, and that is referenced in Action 3-2B. To support foundational literacy, elementary principals requested professional development for assistant principals, which is included in Action 3-5B. And to improve family-school communication, we're committed to strengthening clear and respectful dialogue, which is reflected in Action 3-7A and 3-8E. And these are our core LCAP goals, which we mentioned before, but it's worth repeating. We have Goal 1, which says students demonstrate academic growth based on federal, state, and local assessments. Goal 2, students are prepared for success in college and career. And Goal 3, students thrive in safe, welcoming, and emotionally supportive environments. And within each of these goal sections, you'll find the actions that support progress towards each of these goals. And in this 3-year LCAP cycle, we introduced the equity multiplier goals. These were developed for these schools that were identified by the state as requiring intensified support based on their instability rates. Goals 4 and 5 are designed for Amistad, Summit, and Horizon schools. And Goal 6 addresses targeted needs at Madison Elementary. And these goals remain consistent from last year and align with California's Equity Multiplier Initiative. What is new in this year's LCAP is the integration of the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, LREBG, funding, which became part of our planning process. New legislation in our state called for a comprehensive needs assessment, which identified key areas for improvement within English language arts, mathematics, and chronic absenteeism. The divisions of educational services and student services collaborated on a joint needs assessment to identify both strengths and areas for targeted improvement. And this analysis incorporated data from the 2024 California dashboard. Two of our most vulnerable groups, our homeless students and foster youth, made gains in math, and the long-term English learners grew in the English Learner Progress Indicator. Our foster youth had the most gains in the graduation rate and college and career indicator. We want to highlight the following areas of growth, as the needs assessment clearly showed that certain student groups continue to require targeted support. Specifically, our English learners and students with disabilities remain in the very low performance range in both ELA and math. Socioeconomically disadvantaged students continue to experience persistent achievement gaps, particularly in ELA, and chronic absenteeism remains high among foster youth, students with disabilities, and socioeconomically disadvantaged students, underscoring the need for continued Tier 1 and Tier 2 attendance reports. These results reinforce the importance of ensuring our LCAP actions are equity-driven and responsive to the needs of our most vulnerable student populations. And you can find details about our plan on pages 19 to 21 of the Technical Assistance section. This slide outlines the LREBG actions now embedded within our LCAP, and they have been highlighted in your infographic. Each section includes a clear description of the identified need and the rationale for the investment, ensuring strategic use of funds to address disparities and accelerate progress. At this time, I'd like to invite our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Mr. Jordan Aquino, to provide an overview of the budget and how our financial resources are aligned with our strategic priorities.
Good evening, Superintendent, Madam President, members of the board, cabinet. So basically the slide you see here is a part of the LCAP. It's a budget overview for parents. It's supposed to simplify all the numbers that are in the LCAP into something that is more, that gravitates more towards the eye. So basically what this is outlining is that of the $341 million of LCFF funding, 258 of that is other LCFF funds, and 82.5 approximately is for supplemental concentration. There's also another page that shows total expenditures that are, if you sum up all the expenditure lines in the LCAP, it gives you total amount, and then there's a breakdown as to what specifically is in the LCAP, which is about $230 million. So really these two slides are really just to simplify kind of your understanding and summarize the whole LCAP in 1 to 2 pages, basically. But what I'll go over, if you don't have any other questions, I'll reserve it for that, the budget proposal for 2025-26.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions regarding the LCAP? Mr. Alvarez? No? Nothing? Nothing? Ms. Pierce? Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you doing it? Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Vollmer, Madam President, members of the board, Cabinet. So we're going to go over the budget proposal. Tonight we're reviewing what we have for 2025-26. Since the initial proposals by the governor, the state fiscal outlook has shifted. There have been factors like tariffs, increased costs for Medi-Cal, which is bringing a $14 billion deficit. So I'm just going to give a quick revision, a May revision update. The governor proposed a revision to his initial budget projection back in January. So the May revision, which was presented May 15th, is based on some updated economic factors. There still needs to right now going on, there's subcommittee budget hearing meetings, and then once those are finalized, it's going to go to the legislature where they're going to deliberate, debate on what the plan should look like, and ultimately present a final budget to the governor's office by June 15th. And then subsequent to that, the governor should be approving a budget on the 30th of June. So in that May revision, most notably the shortfall is due to Medi-Cal. There's lower revenues and increased costs associated with that. The governor's budget does not consider any major federal cuts that are being considered in Congress. Despite a minimum guarantee of $4.6 billion lower across 3 years, despite one-time solutions of $2.9 billion to support core programs, and despite $540 million used in the Education Rainy Day Fund or reserve, there are no proposed additional cuts to education. So I just want to throw that out there. Governor's budget has full implementation of transitional kindergarten, expansion of ELOP, fully funding school meals. They're considering what they're calling it a growth recession. So you could imagine if you typically drive around 60 miles an hour, this budget is driving at 10 miles an hour. You're still going to be moving forward, but at some point, there are things that are hindering you getting there on time. So there's slower growth, some implications taking longer, and things that are tied to negative effects to feeling that things are taking a little bit longer. So that's kind of how the state is looking at their budget. They're solving their budget problem through reductions to Medi-Cal, borrowing, revenue increases, fund shifts, and using reserve funds. So just to talk about our budgeted variables for revenue. When we estimate things like COLA for the next year, our enrollment projections, attendance, and our unduplicated pupil count, that drives our entire funding. So if we were to assume a 70% versus an 80%, that has a significant impact on what our revenues look like. Here I just show for 2025-26 and the out years, the COLAs that are projected in the governor's budget. Those have changed. In January, it was originally 2.43, then it changed to 2.39. Now we have it at 2.30%, and the same thing in the out years. Those out years were also shifting. We have been a district that has been facing decline for multiple years. Our budget in the current year shows a slight reduction, and in the out years, we're not showing any change. And the reason for that is our our demographic enrollment study is showing that next year we'll have a small increase, around 28 students. And then the following year in 26-27, we're looking at a 180 student increase. So we just want to be a little bit more cautious about that and see if those students actually materialize in those out years. Attendance, sure, yes. Yeah, so there's a small increase of 25 students, or approximately 28 students, sorry. And then in the year after that, looking at overall 180 students. Now that's on our demographic report. That is just one factor that we use when we're doing our own enrollment projections. We just don't assume. We use that as a baseline to help us with projecting future students. But so in the out years, we're not showing any growth. For our attendance, pre-COVID, we were about 94.6%. Right after COVID, we were in the 89, and now we've got to 92, almost 92%. I will say there are some programs that we are looking at. We just had a meeting today that we are being proactive to try to figure out ways that we could effectively increase our student attendance number by looking at alternative funding measures for that. So we're trying to be really strategic on that, and we'll be presenting some plans for the board in the future for the 25-26 school year. And our unduplicated pupil count, used to be pre-COVID around 70%. I'd say technology, education, our fiscal department, really working together to come up with strategic ways to increase that number. And so we have gone from what we were historically around 70 to now in 80%. And I think a lot of that is predicated on the fact that we are recognizing students with needs a lot better. So I'm just going to go into COLA. And what is it? COLA is a percentage measurement that is used by the Labor of Bureau and Statistics by the federal government. California adopted it. It isn't specific to California. It's more of a broad measure, but we do use COLA, which is attributed to any future growth in K-12 education. So this slide, as revenues go up, so do costs. I've talked about that, lots of times. So we'll just get into a couple of things with costs. Here's a pie chart breakdown of our general fund budget. And if you dive further into that, again, we are primarily made up of salaries and benefits. We are a service industry. So of the entire budget, $410 million of our budget is tied to salary and benefits. That's 82.54% of our general fund operations. Now, if you look at it and dial back and say, well, what's the unrestricted side of that? Because that's a little bit more discretionary. On the restricted side, there are targeted things that you have to spend those monies on. We are an 89% of our budget is made up of personnel. Now, I did take a look at what's Coachella Valley and Palm Springs. And so Palm Springs is adopting a budget tonight. Coachella Valley is adopting a budget 2 days from now. They are at 87.64% and 87.75% at Palm Springs. So we are relatively close within, I guess you could say, standards or norms in our industry. Other things that influence the budget, not only is it personnel costs, but it's step and column, right? Step and column is a year-over-year cost. So as you get COLA that helps pay for things, you have other fixed costs that go up year to year, also called step and column. And then we have things like utility and pension costs, and we'll drill a little bit deeper into that. Again, step and column, here are some salary schedules. There's inherent increases associated with a salary schedule. Without the COLA, it would almost be impossible to pay for year-over-year increases, which, again, a majority of our budget is based on personnel costs. So I just wanted to give you kind of an idea what step and column means. I don't think I've presented it this way before. Next year, there's 878 employees, certificated employees, who are moving on the step part, meaning I have been here 12 years. I am getting an increase because I'm now here my 13th year. Same thing on classified staff. There's 397 employees that are going to be receiving a step increase or a column movement. And management confidential, there's 153 employees moving on the salary schedule. So of all of our employees in the district, 44% of all of our employees will be receiving a salary schedule increase via the salary schedules that are already established. In addition to that, on average, we're around about 230 employees who move on the salary schedule either due to professional growth, units, on the certificated side, and that also moves the needle with respect to employee compensation. All of that we do factor into our multi-year projection, but just to give you an idea of where we were at this year, we had, so that was the average, this current year, 184 teachers moved on the salary schedule, and that equated to, including costs for health and statutory benefits, $715,000. And that's prorated. So if somebody moves, mid-year, they'll get an increase. The following year, it's a full year's increase. There's a reason why I'm going all over this, so bear with me here. And then the estimated step-in column that we used for next year is $4.3 million. So that is the budgeted amount, the increase that we are anticipating in next year's employee costs.
Can I ask a question at this time?
Yes, please.
Well, it's fresh in my mind. But then there'd also be, and I know it's not going to even out and balance it. There'd also be the cost savings of those that retire.
That's correct. Yeah, and so there's a lot of key factors there, because when you're in declining enrollment, and I'll show you, there's going to be a graph here that's going to speak to that, the impact of that. So we're fortunately in a place where we typically see attrition, right? Because a lot of our staffing is formula driven. So for instance, if you have 1,000 students and then next year you have 800, the nice thing about, not the nice thing, but fortunately, we have a situation where there's turnover, where we have employees retire, personnel is hiring employees back, but what they're doing is they're working with fiscal services on making sure that the amount that we're hiring back is in line with our budget, that we're balancing that, right? Because we're not going to staff at the same level of 1,000 students if we lost 200. And so there's a lot of key factors there at play. So we are losing through attrition. Fortunately, there is that attrition taking place where in a declining enrollment environment, you're not having to do layoffs because you're losing students. So we're going to talk about revenues. It's based on enrollment, COLA, attendance matters. Our historical enrollments in this chart from 1819 to 24-25, we dropped 10.6% in enrollment. And in 23-24 to 24-25, we lost about 381 students, and in the following year, 184. So all of that is, it's happened, it's the past. Our enrollment outlook moving forward, again, like I said, we are looking at flat enrollment, and hopefully students materialize where our net impact is higher than what we had the previous year, and we're growing. And growing is always a great thing. Now, again, our revenues are based on COLA, they're based on the amount of students we have, and the attendance rate. This chart shows where we were at funded in previously and where we are projecting in the out years. Now you could see in those out years, doing presentations like this and trying to have a conversation about declining enrollment and COLA is so hard. We just kind of talked about it, but in those out years, it's almost in its purest form now, right? From a budgetary perspective, because you're seeing from 26-27 and 27-8 just growth, which is attributed just to COLA. There's no decline in there. If there was decline in there, that number is going to look way the heck different. And so this is the first time since I've been working here where we're showing almost a pure, just the COLA implication on the multi-year. Now here's a chart to show not only in the out years change in revenue, but this current year and the previous year. Now this chart shows you in 22-23, there was a significant kind of shift, right? gave us a COLA, but then they augmented the formula in LCFF that gave districts with higher percentage of unduplicated pupil counts a little bit more money, and that was translated by way of a percentage increase to us. So in that year, we received $38 million extra than what we had in the previous year, despite declining enrollment. Right? That is a pure change. In 23-24, we got $20 million. That was also with declining enrollment. Again, remember that chart showed decline. That was with an 8.22% COLA. We went up. If we weren't declining, we would have got more. Now, in 24-25, we received a 1.07% COLA. Why did our number go down? Because the 1.07% COLA is not enough to mitigate declining enrollment. So we can't ever really assume that COLA is the end all. It's the hot conversation piece. You hear about in the news, the COLA's this, and everyone focuses on that. But from a budget manager perspective, it's not about the percentage, it's about the dollar. It's about the number. And in the out years, you could see those COLAs that are projected by the governor's May revision is 3.02% and 3.42%. Again, the pure just COLA, there's no decline in there. There's no growth in there either. Now, here's a chart that I want to show that shows the effect of the COLA and what did we do with it with respect to employee costs, right? I'm not showing on here additional staff that we've had over the years, paraeducators. I'm not showing on here additional security guards that we've hired. This is strictly the cost of step and column, the effects of collective bargaining through negotiations, pension costs that go up all the time, and utilities. And you can see on utilities, because through the board's direction, we have dropped temperatures in classrooms to help accommodate increasing heat, right? That was a direction that we were given to help our staff and our students feel a lot more comfortable. And you could see the top bar on there that our utility costs, again, this is all of the utilities on there, but mostly because we dropped that set point, went from $360,000 of an increase in 22-23 to $1.6 million the following year, right? And that was changing the set point, which we did, I believe, from May all the way to October. So there was a fiscal implication to that. I think the thing to also point out here is that you could see the impact of that negotiated settlement in 22-23, which was 8.01% in total compensation. So I hate using percentages because at the end of the day, I really don't care about the percentage. It's the dollar from the managing perspective. And when you look in those out years, 23-24, we had a COLA of 8 point whatever it was on the previous slide, and our total compensation in 23-24 was 8.47%. Now, this presentation isn't a complaint about that because I've said it in every presentation before. We are strategically utilizing, right? We can't just have this large fund balance, but we have to be very cognizant and careful about how we utilize that, right? It's proven throughout the state of California, there's a lot of districts making difficult decisions, and so we just have to be really smart about how we utilize the funding that we have, right? We want to maintain employees, we want to maintain the services, we want to maintain the programs for students. Despite a year that we lost more money than we were supposed to get with just a COLA, which was predicated on the fact that we've lost a lot of students in previous years. And you can see that in 24-25 is although our LCFF, which is the major source of funding, I think it's like around 75% of total revenues, we lost $9 million, yet we recognize that there's a lot of things and hardships going on, and so there was compensation provided in addition to making sure that we can pay our bills and afford our step and column increases. And so you see that disparity there, right? So if you go from a $9 million deficit to a $9 million increase in costs, that's an $18 million disparity, It's significant. But that is all part of our plan with the fund balance, right? We are balancing how we are moving forward, and our deficit spending in the out year is showing that we have a fund balance in the 25-26 year, which is a calculation using the ending balance in the unrestricted side divided by the total expenditures on the combined general fund. And we are at 36% in this adopted budget or proposed budget. Now, the CDE just published back in February of 2025. Again, it's kind of later, but what was the average unified school district's fund balance in 2023-24? So they just published this report. And for a unified school district, the average balance was 24.36%. Right, and then the question that the community asked as schools was, well, what is the ADA from that district? Because you can't compare a small school district to a larger school district. So it was relatively close to the 24%. Our percentage at that point was 43%. Again, that was not done by accident. Right? Our goal was to make sure that we were keeping people employed. We knew money was coming down to the bottom because you can't hire $150 million and spend $150 million of COVID money and expect to maintain your level of service 3 years later. That's crazy. You had to come up with a plan for that. And that plan was using fund balance and also mitigating the impact over the long term with increases in revenues. So here's the restricted side, again, in targeted instructional purposes. So the reserve for that is really just for things like Title I, all these different programs that have to be spent on that specific purpose. And then the general fund combined in a chart here, just overly simplified. And that's it.
Thank you for your report. You always have a good way to make it simpler to understand and to delineate it. So thank you.
Well,
I get the overall overview, but I still seem to worry about just where we're going in these uncertain times that we're going through nationally. It just seems to be something to take note of because of the cuts the CDE is going through. So I want to make sure that, and I know you're very good about keeping us updated with those items, but I think those COLAs always seem, when I was looking at the COLAs, they seem good, like, oh, 3% coming up, They look good. But there's also that other part that we sometimes forget to look at, and ultimately it's those dollar bills, right? Like you said. So those are the things that we have to keep in mind when we're making those decisions of how to proceed with whatever we're trying to do, whether it's with our collective bargaining agreement or just positions that we're going through. So I just wanted to say thank you for just the updates you routinely give us, even just on our Friday letters about, hey, be cautious about this, or this report came out. So it does make an impact as to how we're proceeding and making decisions. So thanks for that component. When, not now, but once you do close the books, I can request a dollar amount of how much money was not utilized by sites as far as LCFF, Title I. I know, we had passed something for that already, but just some numbers.
Sure.
I just want to say that I commend you for your strategic way of budgeting. You and your team, you guys do a phenomenal job. And even though we are going through difficult times, and we have gone through difficult times, you do exceptional. just especially when you show us the comparison between other districts and what should be. So I appreciate you and all that you guys do. So thank you for keeping us where we're at.
Yeah, Jordan, thank you again. Excellent presentation. Revenue has always been a concern for me, and I'd just like to see maybe later in some information, the streams of revenue and how we receive them, and without getting at the end of the world, because I know what's maybe potentially coming down the pipeline. But what comes from the lottery and what comes from Prop 98, what comes down, what can we expect to get, and how long can we expect to run? Being said, should any funds dry up. The second part I like is about the employees when we do hire them. I know we have an extremely generous pay salary schedule that compensates up to 18 years, I believe it is. Is that correct, or something like that?
18 years on.
Of experience. Right, which is a cost that the public should know, because a lot of districts don't do that, and there were times when times were tight. I can say by experience that where some districts almost gave none or 2 or a few years of credit. And for those of you watching at home, what basically happens is that if you've been teaching for 20 years and you decide to move over from District A to District B, District B will only give you 10 years of credit, possibly, or less, and thus you take a pay cut to move, which I've always felt is detrimental to the profession at the very least, because you would want to be able to possibly move if it benefited you in other ways of your life. So I do see that with the attrition of people leaving, with the people coming in. I know that we try to attract the best and get them into the pay slots that they belong, and with that I commend everybody. But I'd like to see a pie graph of the streams of revenue and what those anticipated revenues could be down the line, and what programs, maybe if you really got decisive, they could potentially impact, and what maneuvers possibly we might do with the budget that we have currently. Those are some concerns that kind of rattle my mind at this time. But thank you again on a super job. And I was here during I call it the Great Recession. I don't know, now they call it the financial whatever hiccup. But at the end of the day, as somebody said earlier, Mr. Saldivar, is that when your pink slips were coming out and things of that nature, and incentives to retire, et cetera, were promoted because of that. So I don't see us there, but that doesn't mean there can't be here faster than we can, snap our fingers. But thank you again to you, your team, an excellent job, and I look forward to seeing some of that extra data just so we can wrap our brains around it.
Mr. Aquino, I have a couple questions. One, I will stand wholeheartedly behind the decision to drop those air conditioners. That is worth every penny for our staff and our students to be comfortable in the classrooms. But maybe you do or don't know the answer, and if you don't, if you can maybe enlighten us in a Friday letter. When the schools added solar, the ones that are in Edison, was there any savings cost that we saw as a district by including that? And then the other question I had is, in the projections for the enrollment, in the last few years as you've been giving them to us, are you seeing those shift at all? Are you seeing it change positively, or what we were getting 2 or 3 years ago is consistent with what we're getting today?
So, a lot of that is all based on the birth rates. I think, if I remember correctly, the demographic study showed a change in live births. And so I'd say consistently over the last 3 years, there's been that decline. But what we'll look at is, maybe not what the public knows, is we'll look at things like just kind of the normal migration of trend between grade levels. The other thing we'll look at is live births by zip code. And the live births by zip code that are provided by the California Department of Health will report out how many births are in a particular area within the boundary. and we'll use that and assume that those students will matriculate into the school enrollment over the next 5 years. And so that report is showing a little bit of a shift there. And also part of that is developer and growth. And I don't believe it was significant. I don't know if there's any major development going on right now. But it's a small change in our enrollment, and I think we want to remain optimistic about it, but I wouldn't go as far as putting it in the budget until it actually starts materializing from a year-to-year basis. So just to be completely transparent, you know, because one student is going to generate, let's say, $20,000 approximately. I'm estimating high; it's around 18,000 something. But you know, you just take 5 of those students, and that's $100,000 right there. And you know, you take another 5, and that's another 100,000. So you can imagine what putting in 25 students is going to actually do to a budget, particularly when you're not showing any decline in the out year, because that compounds each year. So that 5 students generates $100,000 in 1 year, and in the budget, I'm showing a $300,000 effect on 5 kids. And so we have to be really careful with that. I think the other thing too is when we look at student growth or COLA, the COLA will provide a increase of, let's say, $5 million or whatever that number is, but there's a portion of that where Marcus's team is instructed to spend it on specific things that affect students with needs. And so there's that component that I didn't even add on here that is another added layer that makes it really complex, because it's not just the dollars. Then you got to dissect the dollar and say, I could spend this dollar on that, and then I could spend this dollar on that. And so, I just get lost. I get all crazy about this stuff. But yeah, I think there is a trend. Hopefully it materializes, but we're not going to show it until we see it.
Just to follow up, if I may, I know it's quick. You don't have to give any numbers, but what would you say the average district, since you brought up average districts earlier, as a percentage, probably get from the lottery funds? I mean, less than 1%, 1%?
Yeah, it's really small.
I know it's really small. I've seen the pie before. I know it's not big, but yeah. What would you say?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I wouldn't be right giving you a percentage.
Okay.
I will say that there's 2 pots to the lottery account. There's one that's intended for salaries, and the other one is for textbooks. And the textbooks dollars are reserved. Ed Services plans on textbook adoptions, utilizes the textbook account. The salary on the lottery side, you might as well just consider it part of the general fund, because at some point when the district received those dollars, in every district, I've worked in 5 now, and it's all like this. The lottery account at some point got designated for salaries, and if you try to pull it and move it and spend it on something else, you're kind of stuck footing the bill and trying to find how are you going to pay for that. Yeah. And so that question gets asked quite a lot.
I know, that's a big one in the public too, because there's this perception.
Yep.
Although I work in a world where like I haven't bought a ticket and I don't know when, but then everybody goes, oh, was the lottery fund you guys? And we're like, when's the last time you played? You know?
That was 2 days ago.
One ticket.
California lottery is like $5 now. It's freaking expensive. Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Can you add the number of schools who do have that solar as well?
I'm sorry?
When you prepare the
solar,
yes. Just who has solar? I mean, Palm Desert High School, I knew, but...
Yeah, Palm Desert High School, the charter school has a small sliver of that, and
Washington?
Oliphant has it, and we're doing another part of the shade structure for the new building over there, where the students congregate for dismissal. There's going to be that's going to be converted to solar as well.
And just a reminder to the board, I know that LCAP is a really big 200 plus, almost 300-page document. So you get it tonight, and then you don't vote on it until our next board meeting to give you time to review it and go through it and ask any questions you may have.
Thank you. Public hearing number 14/2024-2025, Local Control and Accountability Plan, opening public comments at 8:57 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment on this item? Closing public comment at 8:58 p.m. Number 2, public hearing number 15/2024-2025, high school financial literacy textbook adoption, opening public comments at 8:58 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment on this item? I'll try and talk slower on the next one. Closing public comment at 8:59 p.m. Number 3, public hearing number 16/2024-2025, 2025-2026, budget adoption, opening public comments at 8:59 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment on this item? Closing public comments at 9 p.m. 18, General Functions Business Services. There are 8 items in General Functions Business Services. Items 18.1 and 18.2 are resolution requiring a roll call vote. Is there a motion to take items 18.3 to 18.8 as a group or individually?
Motion to take them as a group, Pierce.
There a second?
Second.
Linda. Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion for item 18.1?
I make a motion, Pierce.
There a second? Second. Roll call vote, Ms. Pierce?
Aye.
Mr. Alvarez? Aye. Ms. Porras?
Aye.
Mr. Duran? Aye. And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion for item 18.2?
So moved, Pierce. Sorry.
Trish, and second is Mr. Duran. Roll call vote, Ms. Pierce?
Aye.
Mr. Alvarez?
Aye.
Ms. Porras?
Aye.
Mr. Duran?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Educational Services. There are 18 items in General Functions Educational Services. Is there a motion to take them as a group or individually?
So moved as group. Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Personnel Services. There are 5 items for General Functions Personnel Services. Is there a motion to take them as a group or individually?
Move approval, we take them as a group.
Second, Porras.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Student Support Services, there are none. General Functions Superintendent, there is 1 item in General Functions Superintendent, which is a resolution. Is there a motion for item 22.1?
So moved, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? If nobody has anything to say, I have something to say. I think I have made myself very clear on where I stand on this. I truly believe in supporting Title IX. In the last month or so, 5 other school boards have passed similar resolutions. Since our last board meeting, there have been some changes made by CIF. Prior to the CIF Track and Field State Championships, which was held on May 30th to 31st, CIF announced on May 27th the decision to make changes. I will summarize what they said, but basically they said CIF will be implementing a pilot entry process for the 2025 CIF State Track and Field Championships. Any biological female student athlete who did not earn a spot, missed out on the spot by a transgender athlete placing above them, was extended the opportunity to participate in the State Track and Field Championships. At the State Track and Field Championships, if a biological girl was displaced by a transgender competitor, both were awarded whichever medal she would have claimed had the transgender athlete not been competing. The CIF Track and Field State Championship athlete in question shared 2 gold medals and a silver medal at this meet. For comparison, had the athlete competed in the boys division, the athlete would have placed last place in each event entered. Governor Gavin Newsom has publicly stated that the participation of transgender athletes in women's sports is deeply unfair. And in my view, the recent changes by CIF are an acknowledgement that the current policies are flawed. To me, it's an admission of guilt. If nothing was wrong, there would be no need for change. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 is a U.S. civil rights law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in educational programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. I'm a 40-year-old woman. I never imagined I'd be sitting here having this conversation. Title IX was signed into law 13 years before I was even born, laying the groundwork for the opportunities I had as an athlete. I was a figure skater, and I was proud and asked to represent our country in international competitions. I've always strived to be seen as an equal to men in every aspect of life. But when it comes to athletics, biology matters. No matter how hard I trained, I could have never fairly competed against a biological male. The physical differences are real, and in some cases, they impact both fairness and safety. That's why Title IX was created, to ensure women have equal opportunities to compete on a level playing field. We should not expect our female athletes to compete against male athletes. This isn't about opinion, it's about biological facts and fairness. Our responsibility is to advocate for policies that protect and support all our students, including ensuring a level playing field for our girls in sports. In most sports, males outperform females in speed, power, and strength based on activities due to combined effects of muscle mass, hormone levels, and cardiovascular capacity. Some facts. Males often have longer limbs relative to torso length, which can be advantageous in many sports. Males usually have larger hearts, which allow for a higher stroke volume in athletes. This means their heart pumps to allow more blood with each beat, which allows an increased cardiac output and improved oxygen delivery to muscles. This allows athletes to perform at higher intensities and for longer durations. Males tend to have proportionally larger lungs and airways than females. Larger lung capacity allows athletes to perform better for longer by taking in more oxygen and removing more carbon dioxide. This improved oxygen intake enhances endurance, allowing athletes to perform at a higher level for extended periods without fatigue. On average, males have significantly more muscle mass than females. This difference is primarily attributed to higher testosterone levels in males. At our last meeting, it was mentioned that this isn't currently an issue within our district. Then this is a no-brainer. Then we support our girls and we make a statement. However, more importantly, our student athletes compete against others under CIF's jurisdiction, and this is very much a CIF issue. That's exactly why we shouldn't wait to react, but we should use our voices now to proactively advocate for CIF to do better. Some have asked if CIF is already making changes, why do we need a resolution? The answer is simple. A pilot program is not a permanent solution. It can be reversed at any time, and I believe it will. A resolution sends a clear, united message that we support fairness and safety in sports for all athletes, especially our girls. Let's not forget, just months ago, this very board supported sending a letter to CIF protesting a rule that kept Indio High School's cross-country team from advancing to the postseason. Not a single board member up here raised concern to challenge that rule as being unfair. In fact, community elected officials also joined in urging CIF to reconsider its decision. I'm going to repeat a couple of things that I said previously just to reiterate. I said it repeatedly, my top priority is the safety and well-being of our students and staff. That commitment goes beyond academics. It includes every part of a student's experience, including the extracurricular activities we offer, ensuring that all students feel safe, supported, and respected in every setting. That's why I support a resolution that aims to protect and include all of our students. So let me reiterate what I previously said. I support opportunities for every student to compete based on their biological sex. I support co-ed sports as long as they're clearly identified as co-ed. I support the creation of a separate division for transgender athletes to protect them and give them a place as well. I support women's rights, and I support Title IX and the reason it was signed into law to protect our rights, our girls' rights to equal opportunity in education and sports. I believe that my daughter and all of our biologically female students deserve the right to fair competition if they choose to participate in sports. I say it again, I can confidently stand here and say that the safety of our students, both in athletics and school facilities, is a top priority for me. If nothing changes and one of our biological female athletes is injured by a biological male during competition, that will not rest on my conscience. Likewise, if a biological male athlete takes a roster spot or a medal intended for one of our biological female athletes, I want it clearly stated that I do not support that decision. This resolution does not change anything existing in law. It does not violate any legal standards, nor is it discriminatory. It simply expresses an opinion, a call to protect and support our girls. To those who argue that this resolution creates division within the LGBTQ+ community, I respectfully challenge that viewpoint. In fact, refusing to address these issues is what has fostered resentment, inequality, and division at sporting events. Calling on CIF to do better is not an attack, it's an invitation to start a conversation about creating a fair and safe competitive environment for all of our children. Some may say this matter is best left up to Congress or people in higher positions of power, and you're right. It's not our role to change the law. This will continue to play out in court. But if we stay silent and we wait for someone else to speak up or take action, I fear nothing will ever change. If the women who came before me had said, let somebody else fight this for our rights, I wouldn't have the freedoms I have today. I wouldn't be able to vote. I wouldn't be a doctor. I wouldn't be sitting here. I'm deeply grateful for the rights I've been afforded as a woman, and I see myself as an equal to every single person sitting in this room. I will continue to use my voice to ensure my daughter and her peers have access to the same opportunities that I did as a student athlete. So I ask my board, what are you willing to do for our female student athletes? Does anyone have any comments?
I don't.
Well, I certainly respect any opinion, whether it comes from Ms. Pierce, Ms. Porras, Mr. Duran, or Dr. Watson. And if I have an opinion to state, I'll state my opinion and not call out anyone else for having their opinion. I think it's, let's stick to the issues, and if someone is free to express an opinion, let them do so. That's their right to. And not focus on that, but rather just state your thoughts and vote your conscience. Don't disagree with, what the point is. The issue is that many people are taking this to a different level or trying to make it divisive, and I don't think that is our point. I think our point is just looking for fairness, and they turn into hot topics that I don't think needs to go there. I respect our LGBTQ community. I respect the rights. I'm going to uphold the law, and we'll vote with the law. And because we do so, that doesn't say you're hiding behind anything. It's because that's what we do. That is our role here. So I respectfully say that, please do state your thoughts and opinions, but everyone has the right to share their opinion as well.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is there's not much there that I disagree with as a coach for over 40 years. I started coaching probably in the late 70s. There's no doubt in my mind, father of 3 daughters. I don't hide behind the law. I've always hid behind the love of children and what's best for them. And when I see something that there's no win, then I wonder why. And it has gone on too far. I know I've dealt with CIF, and I want to correct you on one thing. I didn't come up here and make a resolution, but when the Indio High kids, and I thought I mentioned to somebody once, but I will bring you the letter. I did send a letter to CIF immediately because the resolution would have taken too long. They had like 48 hours. And I sent an email, and I drafted it to the head, and I asked for consideration and that they could be accepted. So, and I've had my battles with CIF. I have 7 CIF gold medals. I've been on teams where girls were on the same team. That's what they did back then, and I coached at Indio High when there wasn't girls polo, and they'd be on the boys team. And we've actually had Olympians that come out of the Indio High School program, and I want you to know that. Because what I don't like, what I hear, is when this protection of women, and everybody knows, is that this is a pin's head. Because, I've immersed myself recently in the readings, and there's a lot of readings, and it's like there are a lot more scary places than a track and field place for our children. Now, do I think it's unfair? Most definitely. I know the dynamics of a man. There was a book I read a long time ago that says the only difference why men mostly, are in charge, as he stated, it was because of their ability to generate immediate strength. Right out of the wherever. It's their ability to create immediate strength and put them in the dominant position of civilization. But yeah, I'm against anything that basically hurts children. And this is one of those where it's on both sides of the aisle. And what I don't like it is that a tool where it turns people into where no matter what you do, how you vote, you're going to come out, this or the other. I had some notes and thoughts that I've had about the thing. So I remembered, some of you may not know this, and I won't say the name, but when I was at Indio High School, we had a teacher there. She was a female teacher, and she was drafted by the New York Giants. It's in the 50s, the baseball team. And she had the draft letter, and it was in her room, and when she showed up to spring training, they said, "You're a girl." Right? So as the father of 3 daughters, they say, boom, you talk about the rights. Well, there, boom, she was just dismissed. Excellent history teacher. She was there and a good friend and a mentor. I considered her one of the best teachers I ever had. She would always talk about that stuff. But then I think about, I had here, are we here to help or here to hurt? Are we here to care or are we here to condemn? Are we here to understand or just to undermine? Because as a coach and as a counselor, Oftentimes I find myself in these middle grounds. But I, for one, you know, I'm not kicking the can, as they say, up the road or down or up the hill. But right now we live in a time where it seems like every rule gets challenged. Every law gets, you know, circumvented for whatever reason. And then you have folks just walk in here and they say, oh, by the way, do you think this? You know, I'm not a scientist, as they say. Oftentimes you hear. I think a boy against a girl could be a mismatch depending on the sport. But we don't see it in debate. We don't see it in the chess club. We don't see, you know, we don't ask for that in other avenues. We don't, you know, GPA or grade debates or fighting. So what I say is, what are we doing? What do we do to the least of our people, the least of our students? That's what we do to each and every one of us. They used to say, when I was in the business over there of advocating for people's rights, is that, you know what? If you hurt one person, they say an injury to one is an injury to all. It's not my place to say who runs the race. Okay? I get that. What I don't get, okay, is the rhetoric that surrounds itself with this type of thing. Do you come to help? Do you come to understand? Or do you come to point and just say, oh, we're going to have 50 people standing outside tomorrow or next week? I don't know. But I can't belong to something like that that just hurts children. Now, I know this is a pretty benign, probably, resolution. There's a word in there I'm not real fond of, you know. But it may be the only solution. One way or another, sometimes I think we get ourselves, you know, into the crosshairs. But I, for one, you know, really want to vote, you know, I want to abstain. Because as a coach, I don't know who I'm going to coach next week. And I don't know what the folks in charge of our legislation are going to do. But those are my thoughts at this moment. Thank you.
Do you have anything? Do you have anything? And I just want to reiterate that through discussion with the superintendent, we did amend this resolution to appease the thoughts of the board members, in that our intention, our opinion that we were trying to get out of this resolution was purely in support of Title IX and encouraging CIF to follow that. So with that, roll call vote, Ms. Pierce.
I vote yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
I vote yes.
Ms. Porras.
Yes.
Mr. Duran.
I abstain.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. 23, consent items, student matters. Dr. May Volmar.
Yes, tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve the following student matters. Stipulated expulsion case number 24/25-51. On a motion made by trustee Porras and seconded by trustee Alvarez, the motion carried 5-0. Stipulated expulsion case 24/25-53. On a motion made by trustee Porras, seconded by trustee Alvarez, the motion carried 5-0. Stipulated expulsion case 24/25-57. On a motion made by trustee Porras, seconded by trustee Alvarez, the motion carried 5-0, all with the board accepting the recommendations.
Consent items, business services. There are 12 items in consent items, business services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
Second, Porras.
For Duran as a first and Ms. Porras as a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, educational services. There are 12 items in consent items, educational services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
So moved, Pierce.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second. Go ahead.
Or Duran for a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, personnel services, there are none. Consent items, student support services, there are 4 items in consent items, student support services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
So moved, Porras.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Pierce.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, superintendent, there are none. Personnel action certificated, Dr. Hyde.
Okay, good evening. I'm pleased to announce that we have a number of retirements and employees to recognize. First off, I'd like to start in our certificated group with Heba Fangari, who's retiring after 32 years of service. Last site at Desert Ridge Academy. Colleen Machado, 27 years of service, retiring from Truman Elementary School. And then Jill Martin Ayers, 10 years of service, retiring from Jefferson Middle School. Paul Morway at Carter Elementary School, 26 years of service to the district. And finally, Maria Puente, teacher at La Quinta High School, retiring after 35 years of service to the district. Combined, these 5 employees have 130 years of service to the district, so quite an accomplishment, and congratulations to all of them.
Is there a motion?
Motion, Porras.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Congratulations on your retirement and making it to the finish line.
And I'd like to especially congratulate Colleen and Paul, who I've known through the years and reaching their retirement. Hope all these retirees enjoy that time.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Personnel actions classified, Dr. Hyde.
Okay, we actually have 3 retirements and 3 employees to recognize in our classified ranks. The first is Patricia Collins, who is a school site monitor at Reagan Elementary School, who's retiring after 4 years of service. We heard Ed Nakua, our own Director of Security and Safety Services. Ed's retiring after 8 years of service to the district. And finally, help me, I'm going to do this carefully. I think it's Eli Daidi Torres, a nutrition services assistant who is retiring after 19 years of service to the district. Combined, these 3 employees have 31 years of service to the district. And again, recognition and congratulations to the 3 of these folks.
Is there a motion?
Motion, Porras.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Call out of closed session actions, Dr. May Valmar.
Yes, this evening in closed session, item 3.2, the board approved the appointment of the following individuals. Certificated management recommendation Joshua Osted as principal of Palm Desert Charter Middle School. Classified management recommendation Ashley Bautista as mental health therapist associate. And confidential staff member recommendation for Erica Berrigan as executive specialist, passed on a motion made by Trustee Porras, seconded by Trustee Alvarez, unanimous vote for all positions. Additionally, tonight in closed session, agenda item 3.5, complaint under BPAR 1321.1. In closed session, the board took action to uphold the decision of the superintendent or designee in the matter of the complaint 2014-15-12345 in a motion by Trustee Porras, seconded by Trustee Alvarez. It was a unanimous vote.
Suggestions for future agenda items that receive at least 3 votes. Ms. Pierce?
I have none.
Mr. Alvarez?
No, but I'm sure you can look into that one.
Yeah. Ms. Burns? Mr. Duran?
None.
And I have none. That was my only concern. Announcements. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education is June 24th, 2025 in the District Education Center Boardroom, 47950 Dune Palms Road, La Quinta, California. We do not need to reconvene to close session, and this meeting is adjourned at 9:27 p.m.